Hey guys, welcome to Dow Jones Futures Review. I'm going to go over what went down September 24th and September 25th. So, last we left off, we were looking at a failed breakdown of this little low right here. It took forever to finally get up a couple levels, but it did Wednesday morning on the 24th. Afterwards, which we sold down. This reclaim level is the clear resistance. So, if we do get back up here, I do expect that to get tested and probably produce a little bit of a short. Not that it matters necessarily for me. I focus on failed breakdowns, liquidity traps, and we're going to go over a beautiful one in a little bit. With that said, going into Wednesday night, we didn't have much to work with. We were pretty much just setting up this little mini failed breakdown. But in my mind, this zone needed to clear for any further upside. You can see why that is the case. We last week on FOMC, that was the resistance. We pushed through, we lost it, we consolidated around it for a while before a couple traps that set up Monday morning to give us more recent highs. From there, we sold down, we bounced exactly at that zone, and then we came back, we lost it Wednesday morning, back test a little bit from the bottom. Uh, Another little back test, probably to trap people. We did get a little mini failed breakdown. So for us, that worked out good. We got some points Wednesday night afterwards, which we sold. And then we set up another little mini failed breakdown while I was sleeping. From there, this morning, we started selling. We produced an exact bounce at this level around 7:30, 8 o'clock. However, from my experience, having this low and this nearby low, I would have wanted this minor level to clear, which is why I have so many levels sometimes. We need zones and levels to give us clearance. We don't want to just randomly take positions, and my levels are fairly accurate. So because we didn't clear that, I did not take this long, and that was a good idea because thereafter we sold again. What we did do though is we sold and we lost this low. So now I had this low and a little bit of a dip below this level. So I'm looking at a failed breakdown there. This happened right here. I saw how we consolidated a little bit. This green line was my trigger, and then we started pushing up at 9:15. I got my 4 points right here, left a small position, but I closed it out when we came back down here. I was just not interested in that. I wanted to go a little deeper. I do know we're selling a little bit and consolidating. With that said, going back to a 15-minute chart, we eventually, wish my laptop would work faster, but that's life. We eventually actually did clear that whole zone again. And now I was much more interested because we tagged a few levels down here. If we did clear this green line again, I was definitely interested in going long. What we did is actually perfect because at 9:45 we tagged that green line, sold back down, and then we started pushing back up. I knew that that was my cue. I went long again at the same spot, took some points for the same spot again, left a little bit more for up here, and then I had my runner going. When I came back down here around 11:30, I actually lost it because I wasn't trading much size. But then I was anticipating a sell hopefully, and if not, then I would have been out of luck. And for a little while there, I thought I was out of luck. However, my patience paid off because we ended up losing this low, which eventually would produce a failed breakdown. But I'm going to get into that in a second. I want to talk about real quick. So I had DNR here, and that's exactly what happened. So why did I have DNR here? I'll try to show you guys how I get my levels, where it's coming from. It's proprietary information. It's not something I can just tell you because it's harder to understand. But here's a little bit of an example. We hit this level a couple times here, clear resistance. We eventually pushed through and tagged this level zone before coming back down below. We finally pushed through here and then back tested that area here on Monday or two ago. Came back down. That was an important level of consolidation before pushing from that level up. At FOMC, we dipped into that level and bounced. So all that said, I knew this area was very important. It's not precise, but I did know that if we didn't have a clear low, if we didn't cut this low, then that would have been a valid setup. At the time, I had that set up like right here. So I was thinking I want 2 points above. If we can go right below and then go back up, I take that dip in recovery. However, because we ended up having a clear low here now, that worked out a little better. So I could now delete this. And if you see what I have here, the trigger right here, it was already a minor level there. It coincided a couple points above the low that was set. And I waited for us to push through. I waited for some acceptance. Eventually we got it, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. And I went long around 46.23. I took about 4 or 5 points and closed most of my position. I have a small runner that I'll be careful with. I'll probably lose it below this low and re-engage further later. How would I approach? Before I get into the next setups, I'd had in my notes right here earlier, dip in recovery 64.14 or failed breakdown of last week, Tuesday, Wednesday low. That would have been these lows. That would have required this area to get tagged probably. We didn't quite get that, but we got that dip in recovery. When I set the levels, we didn't have this low, so I had another setup that was a little bit more higher quality. However, both were valid and both would have worked out. So that's my Dow Jones update. What am I looking for now? Well, once I adjust my levels, I'm sure that we'll be looking to clear this zone for further upside. On the downside, I'm looking for a failed breakdown of this low. If we don't get as low here, then I'm looking for a dip in recovery of whatever level I find in this zone after I get off of here. So let's see what we can cook up in Dow Jones. Have a great night.